Today I'm going to show you how to become an absolute monster with Slowbro and completely dominate everyone. I've been using Slowbro quite a bit lately, so I have a great understanding of Slowbro. And I gotta say, he's a beast defender. Ain't no one getting past me. In this video, we're going to break down Slowbro's role, his strengths, and weaknesses, Slowbro's moveset, and the best Pokemon to team up with Slowbro. And we'll also cover the best items to use, as well as 2 builds that I've found that go really well with Slowbro. But before we get into that, shout out to one of my subscribers for suggesting this guide. Leave a comment down below on what guide you would like to see next, and you could be getting a shout out in the next video. Now, let's get right into the video. So first we're going to discuss Slowbro's roles, his weaknesses, and his strength. And it's important to know your role with Slowbro. Slowbro is a defender, which means his main job is to protect the team's scoring goals. You can still score when you have the chance to, but that shouldn't be the focus. You want to leave that to your offense players, assuming they know what they're doing. Slowbro has a decently good range, great support skills, but he's kind of lacking in the attack damage department, and he has lower HP compared to other defenders. But with the right items on Slowbro, that really makes up for his weaknesses, and his weaknesses is kind of irrelevant with the right type of items. And we'll be getting into the right items later in the video. You definitely don't want to miss that. Because with the right items, Slowbro becomes a beast and he's basically untouchable. Who complements Slowbro the best? I think Slowbro really teams up well with high damage attackers like Cinderace and Ninetales, for example, because Ninetales is able to dish out high damage that Slowbro typically lacks, and Slowbro being, tanky, can absorb all sorts of damage for your team and your attackers because attackers typically have lower endurance. Now, which lane should you take? Well, starting out, I usually always go on the top lane, and I guard the top lane with my life. Most of the time, this is where the attackers go, and like I mentioned, Slowbro excels at giving attackers support and absorbing damage for the attackers. So let's talk about Slowbro's basic move. And Slowbro has an okay basic move, and on a third hit, the damage gets boosted. And it also has an area of effect on a third hit and lowers the opponent's special defense. Now, Slowbro's passive ability. Passive ability basically is when you take damage, the HP loss is slow and steady. Now, with the early game moves, Water Gun. Water Gun is a special attack move, and it does damage in a straight line, and it decreases the enemy's speed. It also has a 5-second cooldown. Now let's talk about Slack Off. This is the other move you get early on, and Slack Off is a recovery move, and it has a longer cooldown than Water Gun, but you don't really use it that often. You don't really even use it all during the beginning. You don't really need to. I'll get into that. So Slack Off's cooldown is 11 seconds, and basically what this move is good for is healing. So this move can heal Slowbro's HP, and what's interesting about this move is that when Slowbro is being damaged, while this move is activated, the damage that Slowbro takes is greatly reduced, which is pretty cool. So which early move should you choose first? Well, you'll unlock both these moves relatively quickly, but if I had to choose which move to get first, I feel it's best to go with Water Gun, because you're going to want to level up Slowpoke into Slowbro as fast as possible, and Slowpoke evolves into Slowbro at level 4, so with Water Gun being a special attack melee move, you'll be able to do more damage and knock out the NPCs faster, which means you'll level up faster and unlock his next move in no time at all. Now, the first mid-game move that we're going to talk about is called Scald. And Scald is kind of like Water Gun, but way more powerful. And you know how Water Gun slows down your opponent? Well, Scald doesn't do that, but instead it leaves a burn on your opponent because it's boiling water that you're shooting at the enemy. And this move also has an area of effect. So if you line the move up so everyone is like in the line, it does damage to everybody in the group. This is where the move really shines. What I love most about this move is the short cooldown it has of 5 seconds, and it really helps Slowbro put out more damage while guarding the zones. Now let's talk about Surf. This move is pretty cool. It's a big old wave that charges right into your opponent, following two more waves that crashes down on your opponent to do even more damage. The waves from Surf also slow down your opponent, and if the opponent gets hit by the waves, it throws them in the air for a quick moment. And you can use this move to get away from the other Pokemon if they're chasing after you. It works pretty good for that. The best part is they get hit by the waves while they're chasing you, and it's so funny to watch. Surf does have a longer cooldown of 9 seconds, so just keep that in mind. Now, which mid-game move should you go with? Well, this really comes down to personal preference. I feel that you can do more damage with Scald than Surf, just because Scald has a much shorter of a cooldown, plus I feel like it has more range. It's really underrated in my opinion. When it comes to doing damage, I think it's the winner, but I really do like Surf. Surf is an awesome move because it can really come in handy to escape from the enemies and, just doing a bunch of damage on the enemies. And you can use Surf to like push the enemies out of the way. It's just more useful in some situations. If they get caught up in the waves, it provides some pretty decent damage. Both these moves are just really good. It's a close call. Try them both out and see which one you like more. Now, the late game moves that you get are called Telekinesis and AMNESIA. Telekinesis throws your enemy in the air and disables them for a short period of time. And this move is almost like it was made for group fighting. If you're not in a group, it doesn't really do much. If your opponent is low HP while they're in the air, this move basically finishes them off while everybody just gangs up on them. The other move you get is Amnesia, and this is like a recovery move for Slowbro. It's basically an all-out recovery move with so many benefits. This move increases your defense and your special defense and also protects you from hindrances. This move pairs up really well with Scald and Surf because both these moves, are much more powerful by the increased damage. Not only that, but this move also allows you to recover some recently lost health, which makes you even more tanky. So if you want to make Slowbro even more of a tank than what he already is, then it could be a move to go with. Now, which late game move should you choose? Well, if you're doing a lot of group fighting, I definitely recommend Telekinesis, but if you notice you've been kind of left behind and kind of by yourself, then roll with Amnesia just because you may need the special boost that it provides. Talk about Slowbro's Unite move, Slow Beam. And Slow Beam is kind of like Telekinesis, but a lot better. It holds them in place so they cannot move and continuously does damage onto them. And this move does quite a lot of damage actually. It works great for finishing off opponents or bringing their health down so your teammates can finish them off. It also acts as a shield and protects you from hindrances. So let's talk about the builds for Slowbro, and then we'll talk about the best items. You should really just kind of experiment around with Slowbro's moves to find out what suits your playstyle the best. So one build that I like using is called the Disabler build, and the Disabler build includes Surf and Telekinesis, and the other build is the Tank build, and that includes Scald and Amnesia. The best items that I recommend for Slowbro, I recommend running Rocky Helmet because it makes you so much more tankier, it boosts your defense plus your HP, which makes it a great choice for a defender. I feel like this item really comes in handy if opponents just start, trying to get in my face and then they realize they aren't doing much damage to me because I'm rolling with my Rocky Helmet. And for the second slot, I recommend using Focus Band because it boosts special defense and also defense. And since Slowbro is made for defense, it just really kind of makes sense to go with that. And finally, I like using Shell Bell because of the HP boost for Slowbro. It makes it even more tankier, and Slowbro does have special attacks, so you do get a boost from those while using Shell Bell. I feel like all three of these items just make Slowbro untouchable. They seem to do really well. You can also choose Assault Vest. I know that's a popular item for defenders, so you can run that and see how that goes. For the best battle items, I feel like this really comes down to personal preference because I tend to use the eject button on pretty much all my Pokemon. I just really love this item. It's so useful. It helps me get out of uncomfortable situations. But yeah, just, That's mainly personal preference, like I said, so just try them all out. See what you like. If you found this video helpful, then hit that thumbs up button. It really helps the channel out. And feel free to check out my other Pokemon Unite guides over here. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.